Okay, so hi, I'm Milana, and welcome to my channel, Unabridged Adventures. So this is my October wrap-up, and kind of a general idea of where my November TBR is going to be going. But honestly, if you haven't noticed yet in my videos, I am such a severe mood reader that setting a TBR never works for me. Like, I can't do readathons or any of that, because it just doesn't work. Like, I will set a really good TBR, or have a really good pick for readathons, and it just doesn't work. Which is why, despite the fact that I love the ideas and the prompts in Indigathon, I'm not taking part in it, but I'm continuing to read native books and indigenous books, which I have been doing since September, whenever I realized that I had not read a single book by an indigenous author. If you want to find out more, go check that video out, and I will be talking about books by indigenous authors that I read in October, as well as all the other books I read in October. Okay, so I'm back with Worst Lighting because I completely forgot to say that I didn't get a whole lot of reading done in October because I've just been in a bit of a reading slump, and it's been really hard to get out of. But one of the things that absolutely made my October was The Haunting of Bly Manor. And that series, that whatever TV show, words, is so good. And like, I broke down crying so often because of that. And just, oh gosh, if anyone knows any books that are like it, like, I don't want to read the original book because I know that they take a lot of liberties with it and kind of tie in other books and bring in new ideas, but yeah, like, Bly Manor absolutely made my October, and I would love to read something that gives off like similar vibes, specifically the sapphic vibes. But yeah, that last episode, I was bawling. I cried for like a good 20 minutes because it was just so. Well, I just wanted to pop in here and say that, and say if you have any suggestions, drop them down below, and I would love to hear them. Okay, so I read a total of 8 books in October, and yeah, so that, starting off the month, I finished reading Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And again, I'm looking at my Goodreads here because my memory is terrible. But Split Tooth was a beautiful book that I did not completely understand. Tanya Tagaq is an Inuk author, and this is a book written in prose, partially a memoir, I believe, semi-like autobiographical, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It was a beautiful book. There were so many interesting parts and metaphors and things that I don't think I completely grasped, just because I am not a part of the culture. I don't know enough about that culture to completely understand everything, but it was absolutely beautiful. I did not give it a rating because this is not a genre that I normally read, and I don't want to bring down an indigenous author's rating by saying, well, this isn't a genre that I normally read, and I didn't completely understand everything, so you get like 2 stars. Because I feel like if I understood everything, it would be a 5-star read. And so I'm on the edge, and so I don't want to rate this. Not that it was a 2-star read. It wasn't. It was absolutely beautiful. It was heart-wrenching. It was gut-wrenching. There was so much happening, and it was gorgeous. I just don't think that I know enough to rate it. Okay, so after Split Tooth, I finished reading The Sword of Destiny by Andrei Sapkowski, I believe. Andrei? I honestly don't know how to pronounce his first name, but Sapkowski. And The Sword of Destiny is the 2nd book of short stories in the Witcher series. And I'm busy making my way through the Witcher series because I want to watch the TV show eventually. But we'll see when I get to that, because I've got the next 3 Witcher books here. but who knows whenever I'll actually ever get around to watching that. Okay, so I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. It was better, I'd say, than the first one. I did not like the first few short stories. They just didn't really pull me into the characters and everything. But the later we got introduced to Siri and really got to see a lot more of the like characters' different sides. So that was great. I finished. Oh no, I started this. Gosh, these books are huge. I finished Words of Radiance, and of course gave it 5 stars because it's Words of Radiance, come on. I listened to it mainly on audiobook because just for these books, they are so big that I get really discouraged while reading the floppy paperbacks because I'm like, oh, there's just so much farther to go. I seriously recommend checking out the audiobooks. They are so good. And yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. We really get to see more of a progression of the characters because this is where a lot of the main characters start to connect in their paths. And yeah, it was very interesting. Okay. Then, because I am doing the Cosmere Buddy Read with my lovely friends over on Instagram, I don't know why I'm moving my hands so much. I talk with my hands if you haven't noticed, so you can ignore half of what my hands are doing. We were reading things in like a certain order, so we read Way of Kings first, and then Words of Radiance, and then we did Edge Dancer because it's like 2.5 in the Stormlight Archive. So I read Edge Dancer and I finished it in one day because I was listening to it on like 2 times speed on Audible. And yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's really clear that Brandon Sanderson does not know how to write a novella because, okay, for example, this is a full book by Alyssa Cole, and this is a novella by Alyssa Cole. And so I guess the ratio is the same, but his novella ended up being like a full-sized book, pretty much. I thought it was interesting. There wasn't a whole lot of plot. I like the character, but it did not really, I don't know. It was a 4 out of 5 star read. I don't really have much more to say. I liked it. Yeah, character was fun. Okay, then I read The Only Good Indians, and I unfortunately do not own it, no matter how much I would love to, but I got that from my local library, and so I read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, and of course that was a 5 star read. I read it in about 5 days, which is pretty quick for me. I'm a pretty slow reader. I don't even know what to say about it. It is so good. If you haven't picked it up, I am not normally a horror fan. I don't like horror all that much, but I read one of Stephen Graham Jones's books before, and just, that man is a master of atmosphere. Like, I'm in like the coziest room in my house. I am so comfy, and yet I feel this fear and anxiety, and like I'm questioning my own sanity while reading the characters questioning theirs, and it is so good. And God, it's so good. It's so good. If Goodreads had a 6 out of 5, I would have given it a 6 out of 5. It was just that good. So yeah, love that. I'm really trying to like work my way through his back catalog because I read Growing Up Dead in Texas, and now I've read The Only Good Indians, and I was going to read The Gospel of Z, but I didn't get around to it before my loan at the library like expired. So we're going to try that some other time. But The Only Good Indians, amazing. If you haven't read it yet, go check it out. Okay, so then I read The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. This is my first historical romance that I have read, and I liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5, just because there wasn't a whole lot of plot, but I wasn't expecting a whole lot of plot. I think I've been spoiled by Alyssa Cole's books, but this is great. If you want an intro to historical romance, I would definitely recommend checking out the Duchess deal. It is fun. The banter between the two of them is lovely. The friendships in this are great. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, 4 out of 5, and I recommend checking it out. Okay. And then finally, the one that I've mentioned like 5 times in this wrap up is A Duke by Default, and I've already shown you the cover, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Yeah, 5 out of 5. This book gets all of my amazing ratings. Like, I don't know. Great book. I'm gonna cut this part. This was definitely a 5-star read. And if you want to know more, I could ramble on forever. So go check out my review. It's amazing. If you haven't read Alyssa Cole's work and you are even slightly interested in contemporary romance, check out her Reluctant Royal series. Okay, so I read that, and then I read Whispers Underground, which I just... Actually, this is out of order because I had an issue with my Goodreads. So actually, I finished reading The Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Rowan Horse, and that book was definitely a 5 out of 5. I wish I owned them. I'm gonna have to get them at some point, probably whenever the 3rd one comes out. But oh my gosh, this series is amazing. Like, if you haven't read The Trail of Lightning, or Trail of Lightning, I guess, there's no the. If you haven't read it, you absolutely should. It is about a Diné, or Navajo woman, who is, it's in a post-apocalyptic setting. God, I don't even know how to describe it, except that it is absolutely beautiful and so captivating. And like, if you are in a reading slump, this is the book to get you out of it, or at least it was for me. Like, I read these books in maybe about 2 days because I literally just can't put it down. Like, it will be 4 in the morning and I have school at 8 o'clock and I'm still going through and just reading because I just can't put it down. It's so good. I love the main character. I love her growth in the series. I don't know what else to say except it's amazing. I had a really good month this month with great books. Okay, and then the book that I just finished 2 nights ago, I think, is Whispers Underground by Ben Aronovich. And yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5. It's really fun. I recommend checking out this series if you are a fantasy reader that likes British detective shows. I know that's a very specific group or for a recommendation, but it is basically you're following this British cop. I know, trust me, I'm aware. Police, bad. But you're following this British cop, and basically the series starts off, and this is not a spoiler because it's in like the first page. He's at a murder scene. He's like one of the lowest, like, I don't even know how the system works, how the British police system works, but he's one of like the lower, like, he's a uniform cop. He's still in a uniform. And so he's just supposed to be taking notes and canvassing based off of where they found a murder victim. And so he runs into someone that says, oh yeah, I saw the murder. And so he goes to talk to them again, and they're not there. And later he finds out that he was interviewing a ghost. And so then everything goes a bit crazy because he goes, oh, well, they saw the murder, so ghost or not, I'm still going to go back and do a follow-up interview. And so he gets dragged in to the, like, mythical part of London. It's not, like, very whimsical. It's not like the Red London, Black London, Grey London thing in Shades of Magic. That's all I know about it. I don't know anything else about Shades of Magic. So I hope that was a good reference or not. We'll see. I am exhausted. But like, you get to meet the rivers of London because they are, like, embodied spirits. And there's a whole lot going on. And I think my favorite thing is that it's just the two of them. It's him and then his governor, which I guess is his superior officer. And they're the only two police that can investigate, like, the magical happenings. And they're seeing a whole lot more things, and they have to try and explain this to the, like, non-magical officers. And it's very entertaining. It's a very fun series. I will say the first book, he seems a little misogynistic, I will say that. He says unnecessary things about women, but part of the continuation of the series is him, like, again, growing. I really like character development and growth, but he develops as a character and is influenced by a lot of the women around him, and he becomes a whole lot more respectful and just a much better person throughout the series. This was the third one. Yeah, this was the third one. And it was just a very fun read. I enjoyed it. Okay. That was a whole pitch for the Rivers of London series. Okay. So in October, I started reading... let's see if I can get to it. Okay. I started reading Oathbringer, which this is not an accurate depiction of where I'm at, so I don't know why I showed you. But it's really good. Yeah, I am very entertained, and I'm trying to get through Oathbringer before Rhythm of War comes out, so I'm in a race against the clock. And then I also started The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. And why are these covers so shiny? I'm not very far, because I started reading it and then went, I'm just not in the mood for Wheel of Time at the moment. And so I picked up, like, A Duke by Default and Whispers Underground. So the books that I really want to start reading, hopefully I'm going to start this one tonight, is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And first of all, this is just a gorgeous cover. If you want to see a better view of it, go check out my Bookstagram, because this is one of the most recent ones that I took a picture of. It sounds very interesting. The blurb on the back just says, a young woman and a Mayan death god embark on a life-changing journey in this one-of-a-kind fairy tale inspired by Mexican folklore. And apparently it includes things from, like, the Jazz Age and just a whole bunch of different, like, eras. And it sounds absolutely amazing. And hopefully once I'm done with that, I will be able to start reading The Bone Witch by Ren Chepeko. And I have never read any of Ren Chepeko's work before, but I heard that they're an amazing author, and I'm really excited to check this out. So basically what I'm doing is, because of my college and everything that has been happening, October just didn't feel like October, specifically because of the weather in Arizona. Like, it only recently got below 90. So I'm just saying, you know what? November is also spooky season, and November is also, like, I'm carrying all of the spooky season over into November. Although at some point it does turn into, like, Christmas holidays, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm just keeping the spooky season going, so I'm going to be reading The Bone Witch, and get into more things like Gideon the Ninth, and basically we'll see how this goes, but I'm hoping to read some of my more, like, spooky books next month, or I guess this month. Oh dear. Anyway, I hope you like this. Again, the description of my channel is that I'm going to be rambling, so I guess this is what you signed up for if you subscribed. If you want to see more of my, like, mad ramblings, you are welcome to subscribe. I don't know when I post videos. I should be able to say, like, I post videos every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, or something like that. I don't know. But I'm on a really sporadic schedule. A, because I have a poorly lit room, and B, because college is kicking my ass. So we'll see whenever I actually upload this. It might be, like, December 1st. Okay, so as usual, my social media is down below. You can check out my Bookstagram, my book Twitter, my bookshop.org page. Yeah. Yeah, if any of that sounds interesting, check it out down below. And if you like this video, please like and possibly subscribe. If you watch to the end, put like a little ghost emoji or something. I don't know. I very much doubt that you watch to the end, but it'd be cool to see. So, yeah, I hope you guys had a great October, and I hope you guys have an amazing November. So, bye!